So earlier today, quite a few hours earlier today, because it took me a while to make this video, because I wanted to make sure he wasn't going to make a comment debunking any people's thoughts or whatever. But Leon Riskin, the composer for Five Nights at Freddy's, as well as several other things, but it's Five Nights at Freddy's we're talking about today, posted this tweet saying, the first teaser from the project Forgotten Names and Faces with the hashtags, who will catch you when you fall into the abyss. It also links this audio. This is the file he uploads. I want to play the audio now, and then we'll explain why this is big afterward, because it is more than what you will probably think it is. And I'll explain it after, but first, here's the audio. So from their Forgotten Names and Faces project, they've got this song called Elegant Surrender. Now, for those who've been following Five Nights at Freddy's for a bit, this track should sound very familiar. Or if you just paid attention to my screen, because I've got a bunch of relevant links already opened. This is a piano cover, or remix, or whatever the term is, of a track from Help Wanted 2 titled Gracefully Into the Abyss. I mean, it literally says into the abyss in the tags, who will catch you when you fall into the abyss. So this is very intentional, this is definitely a piano version of this song. And I'll play this for comparison. But not the whole thing, it's 2 minutes long and I want to keep talking. So yeah, it's a piano version of that track, definitely. So what? So the composer for Five Nights at Freddy's has posted a piano version of a previous track they've done. If you know Leon Riskin, which you might not if you're watching this video, but he actually does this quite often. He actually does post a bunch of songs with similar motifs as previous songs, like different versions of previous songs. He actually does that quite often, and a lot of the time it doesn't mean anything. So why am I calling this one out? What's the extra thing here that I thought made this video worth making? Well, it comes in this text. This is for a project called Forgotten Names and Faces. Let's look at that name for a second. A bit of a long name, right? How about we just shorten it to its acronym? This is an FNaF project. I don't think that's a coincidence. This is a different version of a Five Nights at Freddy's soundtrack, or track, and it's in a project for FNaF. Sure, it's not Five Nights at Freddy's, it's Forgotten Names and Faces, but I think that's intentional. I think the FNaF connection is still intentional. He literally calls it FNaF in his bio, so it's not like he doesn't know the franchise is called that or anything. Not only that, but he calls this the first teaser for this project. This project could just be an album or something. Something like he has this project where he's going back to Five Nights at Freddy's soundtrack and he's making remixes or covers of a bunch of tracks from Five Nights at Freddy's. And maybe that's all this is. Or maybe, as you see in the title, this could be the first teaser for the next Five Nights at Freddy's project. And if that sounds far-fetched, keep in mind the last two projects have had subtle teasers before their official announcement, which is what the rest of these links are. Help Wanted 2. This was an image uploaded before Help Wanted 2's first announcement trailer, and this is a Help Wanted 2 teaser because it says it in the copyright. A lot of people at the time thought it was a mistake or something. I mean, this poster was in Help Wanted 1, so maybe that 2 is somehow put there in accident or something. People didn't really know what was up with that. It could have been a teaser, it might not have been. Of course, now we have Help Wanted 2, we know it was. This was the official announcement for Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2. As for Secret of the Mimic, we get 2 images of concept art that released back even before Security Breach came out. There's this concept art of a bunch of mascot costumes. And although these costumes don't directly appear in the game, look at the bottom one styles, the plastic faces, the plastic things here, the tubes or spheres, whatever you call them, on their stomachs. Very similar style to some other mascot costumes we see in Secret of the Mimic with the lyrical lemur. And I believe some of these costumes might be reminiscent of other ones in the game as well. It's just these ones are this is the most obvious connection because it's a very distinct design trait. So we've got this concept art, and we have this concept art, or something of a hallway that looks eerily similar to Five Nights at Freddy's 4, but not quite. And then we get the inventor's house from Secret of the Mimic, which looks eerily similar to Five Nights at Freddy's 4, but not quite. It's concept art, and these were posted before Security Breach. Secret of the Mimic was actually lightly teased very far in advance. Help Wanted 2 was lightly teased a little in advance. And of course, we know from Scott Cawthon that Five Nights at Freddy's 12 has been in the works. He confirmed this in the 10-year anniversary interview. So it would make sense if before an official announcement, there were light teasers for the project. It might not be this. It might not be anything. As I said, it could just be the composer making an album based off tracks from Five Nights at Freddy's. That might be all it is. But if it is a teaser, what would the implications of this teaser be? Just hypothetically, if it was one. Well, it's Princess Quest. Gracefully Into the Abyss is a track for Princess Quest. So this might be teasing the arcade conspiracy coming back in the next game, which is something I would probably already have assumed, because it felt like the arcade conspiracy wasn't super explained in Security Breach, and it was relevant in both Security Breach and Help Wanted 2. For something as important as that plotline, it would make sense for something like that to be continued and explained in a future game. Maybe this next game is going to have a lot of involvement in that arcade conspiracy. Or maybe this is nothing. As I said, it could just be a project where he's working on remixes, but I wanted to call it out, that this could be the first teaser for Five Nights at Freddy's 12. But let me know what you think. Do you think this is just an album project? Or is this an early tease for the next project, the next game? Let me know your thoughts are. I'll see you next time.